In 2003, my life as a father was filled with simple joys and quiet moments of gratitude. My 3-year-old daughter, Grace, was the light of our home, her laughter ringing through the air like music. She had a curious spirit, always eager to explore the world around her with a sense of wonder that made even the mundane feel magical. My wife and I cherished every moment, never imagining how fragile those moments could be. Little did we know, our world would soon be turned upside down by a single, unsuspecting act of innocence. The day started just like any other, warm and inviting, with Grace playing outside in the backyard. Our spa, which had been turned off 2 days prior, sat quietly in its corner, forgotten amid the busyness of daily life. Grace, with her adventurous nature, wandered over to it and dipped her tiny hand into the still water. It was such an ordinary thing, so harmless it never crossed our minds that anything could go wrong. But that moment, innocent and fleeting, was the beginning of an unimaginable nightmare. Hours passed before we noticed anything was wrong, but the change came swiftly and without warning. Grace's playful energy gave way to lethargy, and her rosy cheeks flushed with a sudden, alarming fever. As her little body trembled with convulsions, panic set in, and we rushed to her side, unsure of what was happening. I felt helpless, overwhelmed by fear as my wife and I tried desperately to cool her down with damp cloths. It was a race against time, and we didn't know what we were up against. Our home, once a place of safety and comfort, became the scene of chaos and terror. Grace's cries, her small body writhing in pain, echoed in our ears as we bundled her into the car. With no ambulance nearby, we had no choice but to drive her to the hospital ourselves. Every second felt like an eternity as I gripped the wheel, my heart pounding in my chest. I glanced back at Grace, my sweet little girl, her life slipping away before my eyes. It was on that drive that the unthinkable happened. Grace's small, fragile body gave out, and she died in my arms. My heart shattered into 1,000 pieces as I screamed her name, desperate to bring her back. The world outside blurred into insignificance as we sped toward the hospital, clinging to a thread of hope. In those moments, nothing else mattered but the thought of saving her. My wife's sobs filled the car, a heartbreaking counterpoint to the silence that had fallen over our daughter. When we arrived at the hospital, the medical team sprang into action, their faces grim with determination. I watched, helpless, as they worked to bring her back, my mind a storm of fear and guilt. Questions raced through my head. How had this happened? Could we have prevented it? And most of all, would I ever hear her laugh again? My wife clung to me, both of us drowning in a sea of uncertainty and despair. Miraculously, they revived her, but the nightmare was far from over. Grace's tiny body began convulsing uncontrollably, her fragile frame racked with seizures that refused to subside. The doctors warned us that the prolonged convulsions could cause irreparable brain damage. As we stood by her bedside, powerless to help, the weight of their words crushed me. Our little girl, so full of life and joy, was now caught in a battle we didn't understand. Her brain began to swell, the pressure so intense it cracked her skull along the birth lines. The image of her tiny head, so vulnerable and fragile, will forever be etched in my mind. Specialists were called in from another hospital, their expertise offering a glimmer of hope in an otherwise dark situation. But even they were hesitant to promise us a miracle. We were told to prepare for the worst, to say our goodbyes and let her go. The thought of losing Grace was unbearable, a pain too great to put into words. She had been our everything, the heart of our family, and the idea of a future without her was unthinkable. I found myself praying with every ounce of strength I had, begging for a miracle, for just one more chance to hold her and tell her how much she meant to us. My wife and I clung to each other, united in our grief and desperation. It was a moment that tested the very fabric of our faith and resolve. The hours that followed were a blur of medical interventions and heart-stopping moments. Machines breathed for Grace, their mechanical hum a cruel reminder of how far she had slipped from us. I stared at the monitors, watching the numbers fluctuate, each beep a lifeline I clung to with everything I had. The doctors worked tirelessly, their faces etched with concern as they fought to save her. Despite their efforts, the odds seemed insurmountable, and hope began to wane. Through it all, Grace's spirit never left us, her presence a quiet reminder of the love and joy she had brought into our lives. I thought of her laughter, her boundless curiosity, and her unshakable trust in the world around her. She had always been a fighter, even in the smallest of ways, and I clung to the belief that she would find a way through this. Her strength became our strength, the thread that held us together in the face of unimaginable odds. As the night wore on, I found myself reflecting on the fragility of life and the things we often take for granted. Grace's illness had come out of nowhere, a stark reminder of how quickly everything can change. I thought about all the moments I had overlooked, the little things that now seemed so important. Each memory of her smile, her voice, her touch, became a treasure I held close to my heart. In that moment, I vowed never to take those things for granted again. The hospital, with its cold, sterile walls, became a place of both despair and hope. It was where we faced the darkest moments of our lives, but also where we found the strength to keep going. The medical staff, with their unwavering dedication, became our lifeline, their efforts a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. My wife and I leaned on each other, our love for Grace giving us the courage to face each new challenge. It was a battle we fought together, united by the unbreakable bond of family. As the convulsions worsened, Grace's tiny body fought against an invisible enemy, her strength wavering with each passing moment. We were ushered into a waiting area as the medical team worked frantically to stabilize her. Every second stretched into an eternity as we sat there, clutching each other's hands and drowning in fear. I couldn't stop picturing her laughing face, her mischievous giggle echoing in my mind, a stark contrast to the fragile child struggling for life behind those cold, sterile walls. The thought of losing her was unbearable, a suffocating weight on my chest. The news from the doctors was grim. They warned us that Grace's seizures had lasted far too long. They explained the devastating effects of prolonged convulsions, how irreparable brain damage often began after 15 minutes. Grace had been seizing for over 45 minutes, and her brain had started to swell. The pressure was so severe that it cracked her skull along the birth lines, an image that left me shaken to my core. It felt as if the very world around us was crumbling, piece by piece. Specialists were flown in from Westmeath Hospital, their arrival a faint glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak situation. The expertise they brought was reassuring, but their faces betrayed the gravity of Grace's condition. Machines surrounded her bed, their mechanical hums and beeping a cruel symphony that underscored her struggle. Her tiny body was hooked up to countless wires, machines doing the work her body could no longer manage. It was a sight no parent should ever have to endure, a visual reminder of just how close we were to losing her. We were told to prepare for the worst, to say our goodbyes, and to let her go peacefully if her heart gave out again. I couldn't process their words. It felt as though my mind was rejecting the very idea of a life without her. My wife sobbed beside me, clutching Grace's small hand as if her touch alone could tether her to this world. I knelt beside the bed, tears streaming down my face, as I begged and prayed for a miracle. In that moment, there was nothing else I could do but hope against hope. The hours dragged on, a mixture of despair and faint hope battling within me. Grace's brain swelling was relentless, and even the increased medication seemed powerless to stop it. The doctors tried everything, consulting specialists from around the world, desperate for a breakthrough. Scans revealed the grim truth. Grace was suffering from pneumonia, meningitis, encephalitis, and even Legionnaire's disease. The diagnosis was a nightmare come to life, a cruel twist that compounded our helplessness. Her condition was traced back to the spa, the water a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. An innocent mistake had led to this catastrophic series of events. I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt, as though I had failed in my most fundamental duty as a father. My wife tried to comfort me, but her own grief was too great for words. We were caught in a whirlwind of regret and sorrow, questioning every decision that had brought us to this point. Despite the odds, Grace's fighting spirit began to show through in small, miraculous ways. Around 2 a.m., after hours of unrelenting seizures, she briefly woke up and tried to pull the tube from her throat. The doctors were stunned, calling it an inexplicable sign of resilience in the face of overwhelming trauma. They increased her medications to give her brain more time to heal, trying to protect her from the very strength she was displaying. It was a bittersweet moment, a flicker of hope in a storm of despair. Throughout the night, Grace defied expectations again and again. Even with the sedatives increased to levels meant to keep her unconscious, she woke up twice more. Each time, she looked at us with eyes that seemed to recognize the love surrounding her. It felt as though she was fighting not just for herself, but for us, refusing to give in to the darkness. Those moments were the lifelines we clung to, proof that our little girl wasn't ready to give up. By 8 a.m., the doctors decided to begin reducing her medications to see if she could regain consciousness fully. They warned us, however, that even if she woke, the damage to her brain would likely be catastrophic. She might never recognize us again, they said, and the odds of her being able to speak or breathe on her own were slim. The thought of Grace waking up as a stranger to the life she had known was devastating. But even then, I held on to the hope that she would find her way back to us. When Grace finally woke, the moment was nothing short of miraculous. Her small hand reached for the tube in her throat, her eyes locking onto mine with a flicker of determination. She began to mouth something, her lips forming sounds we couldn't quite decipher. It was only after a few agonizing moments that we realized what she was trying to say. Tea, she whispered, her favorite drink, a simple word that broke through the weight of our despair. The doctors were astounded as Grace continued to show signs of recovery. She recognized both my wife and me, her soft voice calling out Dad and Mum as we held her close. The warmth of her embrace was a balm to my shattered soul, a reminder of everything we had fought so hard to hold on to. Tears of joy streamed down our faces as we hugged her tightly, unwilling to let go. It felt as though the universe had given us a second chance, a precious gift we would never take for granted. The medical team ran more tests, their expressions a mixture of astonishment and relief as they reviewed the results. Grace's scan showed only a tiny area of brain damage, a miracle given the extent of her ordeal. The doctors marveled at her resilience, calling her recovery nothing short of a medical anomaly. They warned us that her eyesight might be affected, but beyond that, she was in perfect health. It was a victory no one had dared to hope for, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. In the days that followed, Grace continued to defy expectations, her recovery surpassing every prediction. Her laughter returned, filling the hospital room with the sound we had feared we would never hear again. She charmed the medical staff with her sweetness, her kind nature shining through even in the wake of her trauma. My wife and I watched her with awe, marveling at the resilience of our little girl. It was a reminder of the beauty and strength that can emerge from even the darkest moments. As we prepared to leave the hospital, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude for every person who had fought for Grace's life. The doctors, nurses, and specialists had poured their hearts into saving her, their dedication unwavering even in the face of near-impossible odds. They had given us back the most precious gift of all, a future with our daughter. The thought of what could have been still haunted me, but it only deepened my appreciation for the miracle we had witnessed. Grace's recovery wasn't just a medical triumph. It was a testament to the power of hope, love, and resilience. The experience had changed us all, leaving us with a renewed appreciation for the fragility and beauty of life. It brought my wife and me closer than ever, our shared grief and joy forging an unbreakable bond. We vowed to cherish every moment with Grace, to never take for granted the gift we had been given. Life, we realized, was a series of fleeting moments, each one precious and irreplaceable. Even as I reflect on those harrowing days, I'm reminded of the strength we found within ourselves and each other. Grace's story is one of survival, a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit can endure. Her journey has left an indelible mark on all who know her, inspiring us to live with gratitude and compassion. She is more than a survivor. She is a beacon of hope, a living testament to the miracles that love and perseverance can achieve. As we brought Grace home from the hospital, the weight of the past weeks lingered in the air, but so did an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The journey had been one of unimaginable fear and despair. Yet here she was, smiling and alive, a living miracle. Her laughter echoed through our home once again, filling the void left by those terrifying days. Every hug, every kiss, every small gesture carried a deeper meaning now. We had been given a second chance, and we were determined to cherish it. The doctor's warnings about potential setbacks remained in our minds, but Grace's resilience gave us hope. She adjusted quickly, showing remarkable strength despite her ordeal. We marveled at her ability to bounce back, as if her spirit refused to be dampened by the hardships she had endured. It was humbling to witness her zest for life, even after everything she had been through. Her journey became a source of inspiration not only for us, but for everyone who heard her story. I couldn't help but reflect on how close we had come to losing her, and how much our lives had changed in such a short time. The moments spent praying by her bedside, holding on to hope with trembling hands, had left an indelible mark on my soul. I learned the value of persistence, of believing in miracles even when all logic pointed otherwise. It was a lesson I would carry for the rest of my life, a reminder that love and hope can sometimes defy the odds. Grace's survival was nothing short of a miracle, and I vowed never to take that miracle for granted. In the months that followed, Grace's recovery became a testament to the power of faith and science working hand in hand. Each milestone she reached was celebrated with tears of joy, from her first steps post-recovery to her playful laughter returning in full force. Watching her rediscover the world with fresh eyes was like witnessing her being reborn. She had been given a chance to live, and she embraced it wholeheartedly, her every action filled with boundless energy. It was impossible not to be swept up in her joy, her love for life infectious. The experience reshaped how my wife and I viewed parenthood and life itself. We became more present, more appreciative of the small moments we had once overlooked. A simple tea party with Grace felt monumental, a celebration of the life we almost lost. Her laughter while sipping her favorite drink became a symphony, a sound that carried all the love and gratitude we felt. Life no longer felt like a rush to the next milestone, but a gift to be savored moment by moment. Grace's story began to spread, touching hearts far beyond our small circle of family and friends. Strangers would approach us, moved by her resilience and the sheer improbability of her survival. She became a symbol of hope for many, her journey reminding people to treasure their loved ones and hold on to hope in the darkest times. Sharing her story wasn't just about reliving those moments. It was about showing others that miracles do happen. Grace's life was proof that even when the odds seem insurmountable, there's always a chance for light to break through. As she grew older, Grace's compassion and kindness became the hallmark of her character. She was drawn to helping others, her experiences shaping her into a deeply empathetic person. Her dream of becoming a childcare teacher came as no surprise, given her love for nurturing and caring for others. It felt as though her journey had given her a unique understanding of the value of life, a gift she wanted to share with those around her. Watching her step into that role filled us with pride beyond words. Grace often asked about the events of her early childhood, curious about the story that defined so much of her life. We told her in measured tones, ensuring she understood the miracle of her survival without burdening her with the trauma of those days. She listened intently, her wide eyes reflecting both amazement and gratitude. For her, the story wasn't just about overcoming illness. It was about the love that surrounded her and the strength she drew from it. It deepened her bond with us, creating a shared narrative that strengthened our family. The financial struggles we faced in the aftermath of Grace's illness became inconsequential compared to the gift of her life. I lost my business, but the loss felt trivial against the joy of having her with us. The sacrifices we made to ensure her recovery were worth every penny, every sleepless night, every tear shed. Money could be earned back, but Grace's presence in our lives was priceless. The perspective her survival gave us reshaped our priorities, reminding us what truly matters in life. Even now, years later, the memory of those harrowing days lingers in my mind like a vivid dream. It's impossible to forget the fear, the helplessness, and the overwhelming grief we felt in those moments. But alongside that pain is the memory of Grace's resilience, her refusal to let go, and the miracle of her recovery. It's a story I share not to relive the pain, but to celebrate the triumph of love and determination. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the beauty of never giving up. Our family's bond grew unbreakable in the wake of Grace's illness, each of us drawing strength from one another. My wife and I leaned on each other in ways we never had before, our shared pain and joy forging a connection that words could never fully capture. Grace's recovery became a cornerstone of our lives, a constant reminder of what we had endured and overcome together. It strengthened our resolve to face any challenge that life might throw our way. Together, we were unshakable. Grace's laughter remains the soundtrack of our lives, a constant reminder of the light that survived the darkness. Every day with her feels like a blessing, a gift we were once so close to losing. Watching her thrive fills my heart with gratitude, her joy a reflection of the miracle we witnessed. Her story continues to inspire me to be a better person, to live with love and hope at the forefront of everything I do. She is our reminder that life is fragile, precious, and worth fighting for. As I write this, I can't help but feel a swell of pride for the woman Grace has become. Her kindness, her compassion, and her love for life are a testament to the strength she showed as a child. She teaches me something new every day, her wisdom far beyond her years. I am endlessly grateful for the doctors, nurses, and specialists who fought for her, for the prayers and love that surrounded us, and for Grace's unyielding spirit. She is a beacon of hope, a living miracle who reminds us of the beauty and resilience. Grace's journey serves as a reminder that life can change in an instant, but it can also be restored just as quickly. The lows we experienced made the highs all the more meaningful, each moment of joy amplified by the memory of what we had endured. It's a perspective that has carried me through life, a reminder to hold on to hope even when it seems impossible. Grace taught me that miracles don't always come in grand gestures. They often come in small moments, in a child's smile, in the word tea. Looking back, I realized that Grace's survival wasn't just a victory for her. It was a victory for all of us. It was a testament to the love and support of family, the dedication of medical professionals, and the power of faith. Her story reminds us that even in our darkest hours, there is light to be found if we hold on long enough. It's a lesson I hope to pass on to others, a message of hope and resilience that will carry forward for generations. Grace is a living reminder of that truth. Our family's story is one of hope, love, and perseverance, and Grace is its shining star. Her survival has taught us the value of every moment, the importance of holding on to hope, and the beauty of life's small miracles. It's a story I will never tire of telling, a reminder of the strength we all carry within us. Grace is our miracle, and her journey is proof that even in the face of insurmountable odds, anything is possible. We are forever grateful for her life, and for the light she brings to our world.